Welcome to Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I am Kristen Johnson.
How are you guys? Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Thursday. I hope you're having a good time. We are. We're having a pretty good time. We wanted to tell you guys, we want to give out some thank yous, right?
Yes,
I want to
absolutely.
start with that. For this past Saturday, we had Friendsgiving, which is, for those of you who don't know, is a Thanksgiving that you have with your friends when you get away from your relatives. So you can just kind of hang out and party with your friends kind of thing.
Not really party, but like congregate and
That says you.
Oh, yeah, right. Can't
yeah. the nun over here. And we had that with...
Well, we had walk-ins welcome. We were at James and Nito's.
Yes, we were at the house of James and Nito and Celine. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you so much because we all had such a good time. It was great food. James is a great cook. So was Celine. And he was asking us
Turkey
all the
was
time.
awesome. It was like 24 pounds or something.
Yeah.
38 pounds or 45-pound turkey. It was something ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
Something you could only find in like New England. It was giant fowl just taking up the entire table. And we were there with Duodemonology.
Yep.
Which is James, of course, James Anito and Carl Johnson. And we had lots of paranormal peeps popping in.
We did. We had Keith Johnson.
Yeah.
He is such a sweet person.
That's Carl's twin brother.
Yep.
Both of those guys were the first two guys to investigate the Conjuring house, as it's known now, Andrea Perron's house. Back in, I think it was like 1971. They were the people that called Ed and Lorraine Warren in because they were just kind of starting out. They were in college and twin brothers, right?
Yeah,
so
they were great.
Is there a cooler story than that?
There
awesome.
is. They
funny.
do. They have an angel and the demon story.
Yeah, they are cool. They were telling us stories about Halloween's growing up, and Keith would be the angel and Carl would be the devil. And somehow it seems appropriate. I don't know why, but you can totally see it. And they're awesome people. And
we are so very grateful
cool.
to have
Joe Ranoni,
wonderful friends like that. Yeah, Joe Ranoni he's from the Paranormal New England. And we also had Matt Warner.
And Matt Warner was there, yeah.
And we had a friend also, Jason, who I don't know his last name, but he was great too.
Yeah. Matt told a good story about haunted dollars.
Oh, yeah.
Too. It was really good. We were talking about haunted objects. So we got to get those guys to come on individually because they were great. It's awesome stories. And it was a lot of fun. But anyways, long and short of it is thank you, James and Celine, for having us over. And whatever platform you're watching us on, go into the archives. You can probably find that show. It's called Friendsgiving. And that was a good time.
Saturday.
That was you didn't mind having turkey twice. It was all right. I was surprised. I was like, well, we just had Thanksgiving. We're gonna have another turkey. But it was actually really good. It was awesome. So I didn't want to tell a story about it was in the news this week about Western Maryland.
Oh, yes.
Right. There's a fan of cryptids. She opened a museum about a forgotten cryptid, and this comes from the dailyyonder.com. Daily Yonder, whose tagline, by the way, is keep it rural. So I think it's pretty rural out there in Western Maryland.
I would have to.
And I think you're out in the woods a little bit. Her name is Sarah Cooper, and she has a hidden story about the Snallygaster. Yeah, you heard that right. The Snallygaster, something Western Maryland needs to know more about. Cooper, the founder and owner of the American Snallygaster Museum, the American one, as opposed to...
Don't say it again.
I don't know if it's the Canadian or Mexican. I don't know. The American Snallygaster Museum said the cryptid story is that is an untold gem amongst rural legends, but also a story that could bring tourism back to the Frederick, Maryland area. I'm a big fan of the cryptids and cryptozoology, she said. It's my favorite thing. And when I moved to Maryland a few years ago, I started to do all this research about the folklore and found out about the Snallygaster and was like, why isn't this more of a thing? Right. Yeah. Well, of course, Snallygaster. Back in the 1770s, German immigrants came to Western Maryland and brought with them brats, beer, dances, and Schnellgeist, or quick spirit in German, similar to poltergeist. Right? Over the years, the legend has turned to stories told to small children to creatures actually living in the area. In 1909, residents reported seeing a Snallygaster, described as a dragon-like creature, half bird, half reptile. The monster was said to have large wings, a metallic beak, glowing red eyes, tentacles for arms, and sometimes coming out of its mouth, and razor-sharp metallic talons. Razor-sharp teeth. It's just the bunny rabbit. What? Run away. And residents said the Snallygaster picked up a farmer, sucked the blood from his neck, and flung his lifeless body off a cliff. There you go.
Yep. Say it again, Ian says.
Snallygaster. Anne-Marie Young, it's a Snallygaster.
Did you mean that, or did you mean run?
Run away? I don't know.
Run away.
But yes, this woman has put together a museum so you can learn about the Snallygaster, which I thought was really interesting. There was a little history here. Let me see. Again, from dailyyonder.com.
She visited the Flatwoods Monster Museum.
Yeah.
Very cool.
There's a cool cryptid, a cool story. And
I would like to go there.
There's one other part I want to include, but I can't find it right now. But that's all right. And speaking of cryptids, I'm talking about cryptids. We have an awesome guest tonight.
I just want to say one thing.
Rather cryptid informed. But
may I?
Go ahead.
Let's get this mother rolling.
Oh, yes. Which is our tagline from our actual audio podcast, because we make, and haven't done it lately, but we make them audio podcasts for Dark Horse Paranormal. And it's one of our things we say. Let's get this mother rolling.
Let's get this mother rolling.
So we're going to get this mother rolling. We're going to bring on our guest. She is awesome. Let me see here. Dr. Kimberly McGeorge will discuss her paranormal research using state-of-the-art technology for alternative health combined with the energy healing fields. She will also share some of her paranormal experiences along with how she uses her psychic abilities to help people. And she's returning to our show. She's been on before, and we had a wonderful time talking to her.
Did.
And we're really looking forward to this. We talked about all kinds of things, and it's going to be fun. So stay tuned. Let's bring her on. Hello, Dr. Kimberly. How are you?
And she.
Oh, no. I can't hear your audio.
I forgot I muted.
There you are. Oh, I do that at work. I do that all the time. Somebody ask me a question, I'll sit there and just. Your mute's on.
Gosh, you wouldn't know I was in radio, like, as a career ever. Jeez, I would have been fired if I did that years ago. It's wonderful to be back, though. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Yeah, we've been looking forward to this.
Yes.
So how have you been? And what have you been up to since we last talked?
Oh, gosh. Same old. I actually have had some interesting experiences. I don't think this happened since the last time I was on, but I was talking to my daughter on the phone, and my security camera went off on the back deck, and it said, person in the yard. And I'm like, hold on. I'm going to go out and see, so I ran out there. There's nobody there. And then I looked at the camera, and I actually have this picture, and there's a dog man sitting in the fur. Like in my yard, and other creatures, like a portal opened, it caught it on camera, like it caught the movement of these creatures coming. I mean, it's so cool. So I have about 10 cameras, and I have some game cameras, and we've been getting some really, really cool stuff. When you have a 24/7 camera and movement or temperature, triggers it, you can get a lot of my pictures, my best stuff is really coming from the security cameras nowadays.
Wow, that is cool.
Awesome.
They're out there, kind of like the hunting cams. They're running all the time, and more people are adding these things like the Ring and the various products that are out there through their cable companies and whatnot. So I imagine it'll be even more and more cryptid photos showing up. So a dog man, you say?
Yeah, it was a dog man. I sent it to everybody. Crazy. It's just sitting right there. Like, I mean, 8 feet from my deck in broad daylight. Everybody's like, let's go hunt cryptids in the dark. I'm like, let's just be lazy and take naps and get them on our security cameras,
What did it look like? How tall was it? Like,
it was like a very large, it was sitting, it wasn't standing, but it was a very, 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 very large wolf dog thing. I mean, just an overgrown, like maybe 3 times. I can send you guys the pics. I'll find them and send them to you, and you guys.
Yeah, cool.
Please do.
Yeah, I would love to see
I'm very into this dog man.
And then if you look behind it, there's all kinds of weird creatures. So it was definitely like a portal open, and you can see all kinds of weird stuff. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool pic.
Wow.
Love to see that.
That does sound good. I feel bad for the cats in the neighborhood because they will.
Here we go.
They're bumming. Right?
That's hilarious.
Need, really,
Oh, that's funny. I mean, it's not funny. Sorry.
But it is until your cat goes missing. It's all funny till the cat goes missing, Kim.
Yes. Until your cat goes missing.
No,
it's all
exactly.
Yeah, that actually happened. Actually, it wasn't a dog man. It was a dog. About a year ago. Yeah, it was horrifying.
That's awful.
Yeah, she killed a cat in front of me.
We had him.
Rest in peace, Freddie.
Yep, Freddie McGuffins.
Yep.
Aww.
We had him cremated. It was I can't talk about this right now.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. We don't have to.
It's sad. That's my fault. I'm sorry. I'll take
No, I was just going to tell you guys the other thing I've been really finding that to me crosses over like quantum check with paranormal is I've been doing after I was on Coast to Coast, of course, we got like 150 scan orders. So I've been scanning people I don't normally scan, like not my normal clients, but like strangers all over the world. And it's been really interesting because we've seen this huge uptick and I was actually just checking you, Chris, but we've seen this huge uptick in human discarnates inside people's energy fields and inside people's bodies, like even conscious, awake, even, I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but there are some famous people that deal with and we've also seen this huge, and I don't know if you guys want to talk about this, it might be too racy or maybe not for your show. We've also seen a huge uptake in almost everyone. I am saying like 99 people out of 100 are being harassed by incubus and succubus at night. Even incubus and succubus experts that happen to be male, cough, cough, not saying any names. So, we've run them through the quantum check and they're like, get rid of your incubus, succubus, come to me. But they haven't.
You can't do that. You got to say names.
You got to say something.
Come on, honey.
I'll give us some better.
Nathan, he's going to kill me. I hope he's not listening.
Probably is, but that's okay.
I know. But I just had to look at him. I mean, when I say, I think of, I'm sorry, keep over talking, Chris. Go ahead.
That's my fault. I'm sorry. Are you insinuating that there's an incubus, right? That's plural is incubi, right? Mm-hmm. That's out there maybe harassing people.
Yeah, and it's not really, it's not really like male to female, female, to male. It doesn't care. Like these things aren't really interested in sex. Everybody's like sex, hot sex, pornographic sex, violent sex. No, they can give a crap about the sex. It's all about the energy. It's all about the, how much energy and of course, sex is just one way, as everybody knows, of exchanging or harvesting energy.
Yeah, that's like our way. Like it's also a biological thing, right?
Right. They're also they're like vampires energy wise. They
vampires and
they suck
energy. I tend to think the sex is more or less just something they're doing to get that energy.
And I think when you're asleep at night, there's a lot of things happen. Like I just looked at you. I forgot you were a super soldier. I just looked at you. The first thing that comes up out of like thousands of panels. Oh, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot he's a super soldier. So, they access us, 24 ways to Sunday, at night and during the day. Everybody's like, oh, night. They have so much technology. They also freeze time all the time and they harvest us during the day. And then they, have the tech, they just memory wipe us. So, how some days seem like 8 days or 18 days and some days seem like 8 minutes. Have you ever noticed that?
A lot of they blur together.
Time can be a subjective thing. Yeah.
Yeah. They're messing with time when you have really, odd pace days from what you normally have.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean exactly? I do forget. I do remember you saying I was like a super soldier. And I'm not sure what you mean by that. Just
now
let our audience and I think you're on the show.
Yeah, they're not liking this because I'm hearing like feedback now. So they're like, okay, let's garble this topic. We don't want people to know about this.
You don't have to stay on it. It's okay.
First of all, you're a super old soul. I'm talking, you. So you're a super old soul. You've had many incarnations in this realm, which I believe, as you know, is a game realm. And they've invested billions and millions of dollars in you. So you've been a super soldier forever. Like, this isn't your first, merry-go-round of a super soldier. You've been a super soldier over there. So you just don't remember. Or maybe you do remember. Or maybe you have weird dreams and military dreams. Who knows if you remember or not? I mean, some of us have lucid dreams and they're bleed-through dreams. But anyway, so it means you're being both bodily taken at night. You've probably been age regressed. I didn't look at that for the secret space program. They usually take you under the age of 3 and they put you on like a base like Mars or who knows where, or a ship. And then they drop you back like the second they took you, and they memory wipe you in between, because the technology that they have, you know how they always say like the technology they have is like 50 years. No, people, the technology has always been here. So there's no new technology under the sun. I mean, this is ancient technology that they had in Egypt. This is ancient technology they had before this, Earth even existed or anybody lived on it and this realm was created. Like, this technology is like old as dirt. Like, it's just always been. So they have all this technology. And so you basically work for the corporations. There's like 50 corporations that run this realm. And I don't mean like the corporations you guys know. I don't mean like Nike. Well, actually, Nike is one of the corporations, but it's a sub-corporation because Nike is owned by Enki. You've heard of Enki, Enki?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
So he's still alive and he owns that company. And
I'm
he's
not familiar with the Nike one.
Yeah, he's a little egocentric. So he just jumbled a couple words, kind of like Santa and Satan. I tell you guys, I'm so slow.
Satan?
Like, I'm the most, like the Santa thing. Like, it took me so long to realize that was an anagram for Satan. I was like, I wonder what my first clue was. The fire, the red suit,
To be like, come sit in my lap, little girl. Come over here.
Yeah.
Well, if that isn't creepy enough, like pedo much?
Yeah, it's a little pedo, yeah.
I mean, how many pedos have been hired as Santas? They can feel up little kids. Sorry, you said we could talk about anything. So I'm just going for it.
Well, I suppose that happens. I don't know. But we started off with some cryptozoology, and I know you know a bit about the Sasquatch. Quite a bit. And you know what's so funny? Everybody's like, how long have you been studying the Sasquatch? I'm like, 5 years.
Still
a long time.
Still a long time.
Well, no, not a long time, because you know why? Because I didn't go looking for them. They came looking for me. There's a big difference in you saying, I'm going to, study whatever, and, and you going after it, and then beings like relentlessly kind of coming after you. So, Steinway Wilson, I talk about this a lot, has a ton of YouTube videos, and he lives in, about a half hour away from me. And, I stumbled on his YouTube videos and I'm like, this guy's smoking crack. Like, he's the most crazy person I've ever heard. Well, I mean, he's talking about Sasquatch where you can see the female's breast. And I'm like, I've never even heard people talk like this. I've never heard people talk about it.
Yeah.
I know you guys have, but back then, 5 years ago, I am like, my only like relationship to Sasquatch 5 years ago was like Patty, which is a whole nother conversation we could get into, the basic.
You're talking about the Patterson Wright video?
Yes. That was my only, so to me, they were all like that, and that's it, and they don't live around me, and I can't see one, and I'm not going to encounter one, because I was all into the paranormal. I had a little bit of experience with the fae and the fairies, but that's kind of far. I mean, it's really not, but it seemed to me far away from the Sasquatch dogman. And I mean, I'd seen enough dark force energies and demonic energies and ghosts and horrible things and occult crimes to last me a lifetime. So why do I want to go chasing monsters in the woods? Like, I didn't.
We get it.
Right. It's the inspiration for manscaping.
I bloody can't.
Here's
I got buttons over here. I'm just clicking buttons.
Oh, you're fine. I'm watching these videos and I'm like, okay, this guy it has to be crazy. So I kind of like sat down and I said, I'm going to watch like 10 of his videos, and I'm going to turn on my psychic abilities, and I'm going to see if I can really see what he's seeing. And so I watched his videos, and I'm like, oh my gosh, call the insane asylum. I can see exactly. Like, he would be blow by blow. Here's the baby. She's picking up the baby. And I'm like, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. Like, I am seeing exactly, what he's describing, matching the video. So of course, me being me, super stalker, I, contact him cold on Facebook, and I'm like, hey, I live a half hour away from you. Can I come over to your house? Because back then, this is how much I did not know about cryptozoology. I thought they only were like in his woods. I didn't know they're like, well, now I know even more than I thought I was going to know when I started investigating, which is, they're not just in his woods or my woods or your backyard. They're like downtown Winston-Salem, like looking in restaurant windows with traffic driving by on the street. I have a picture of a pizza restaurant I just went to with my daughter 3 weeks ago, and they're in the freaking little landscaping bushes right down, downtown Winston-Salem.
Oh my God.
Like, these things are everywhere.
Oh no. So you need to be more brave. Have you seen a change in the 5 years where they're being more forward and maybe more?
Well, I mean, back then it was, again, I didn't know. To me, they were like things out there that you can take pictures of, and yes, they're, but very quickly it became, they knew who I was, let's put it this way before I knew who they were. So they already knew me. And of course, we're memory wiped when we come into our incarnations. So I mean, we, when you're trillions of years old, you probably know every single type of ET race and interdimensional in the multiverse, in the galaxy. So it's like the Star Wars bar. Like, we know all those beings. We've encountered all those beings. We just don't remember,
Like the amnesia, right?
But they're not memory wiped. So they remembered me. And I really think they, began to seek out a relationship with me. So they began to open portals and give me just the most amazing experiences. Like, I have pictures of portals like you would see in like Ghostbusters, like the shiny white silver light, like I just have the most amazing video. And they let me see one in the fur. And I have video of that, although my daughter insists it's a bear. But I said, even if it's a bear, if you're a foot away from a bear, that's still cool video. So I really don't care. Sasquatch bear, still bragging rights. Who stands, and lives?
Amazing.
There's no way it was a bear, because I don't think you're going to live while filming a bear, a foot away. But so it's just been this progression to where, I did start leaving them gifts. They gift me things all the time they gift me beautiful quartz rocks. They gift me, pine cones, and they place them in arrangements. They stack rocks. I leave their children like rag dolls. And it's become this relationship. They'll pound on the house if I don't give them snacks, which makes me mad. The juveniles usually will pound on the house if I don't cut up their apples and throw them in the yard at night. They'll pound on the house like, hello. Oh. Get out of bed. So it's become quite the relationship to where we have mind-to-mind communication. I leave a lot on my windows. My daughter's like, your house is so creepy, Mom. I'm like, but the Sasquatch and the interdimensionals, they like to watch us. They like to watch me and my dogs. Not like creepy, not like in the shower. I'm not saying that, you guys, don't get pervy. But they like to watch. Like, they're curious. They live in the same world we live in. 100%. They're here. Everybody's like, are they somewhere else? They come through portals. I do believe they can go through portals, but they all live in the exact same space we live in. We just can't see them. And I think that's why we find so many physical signs of them, the structures. I was just creeping all across my property today, filming the structures, because they know I want privacy. So they've started building these blinds right up against my fence to block the road. And I'm like, that's really nice, you guys. They're like building these huge tree structures. So, I even have more privacy, I guess, although we have conversations all the time about do not break trees, do not knock trees over, do not use trees for your tree structures. But it's a little hard for me to say that because I cleared a bunch of trees to build this house. So we kind of have a give and take on that.
No, I think you're in like a rural area. I'm sorry. I have a question out. Somebody, Anne Marie Young is asking, where do you live? And now, obviously, we don't need your address, but you're in a rural area. Part of the United States are you in?
I actually live 15 minutes away from the Blue Ridge Parkway at the base of Hanging Rock Mountain, which is a Quartzsite State Park. So I live on 4 acres in the woods, and my whole land is quartz underneath me. So it is very conducive to the supernatural and the paranormal.
Absolutely.
That's right. And I'd like to remind our listeners, like, your story, it's awesome. And I know that's like, everybody's like, oh, come on, I can't, don't knock on my door. And you know what? The longer I do this stuff and we do this stuff, the more strange it gets.
It really does.
Seriously, like it's so hard to convey some of that information. It actually takes a bit of bravery to just like tell the truth about it, because it's like, wow, this just happened and you're not going to effing believe it. You know what I mean?
Nobody would believe us.
There's things that happen to us too.
We were just talking about this last night. We're like, people, thank God we have each other.
We can talk about that.
Because we're like, we can talk about these really, bizarre things, that other people would think are bizarre. But to us, it's actually like,
it's our reality.
It's reality.
It's like what happens to you, it's subjective, but it's not, it's just because I didn't see it doesn't mean crap, right? It doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Right.
So I just wanted to throw that out there, because I'm sure
that you said that, Chris,
like banging on your door. Like, I'm sure there are some listeners out there that are like, wow, I wish that was happening to me.
I really like, though, finding evidence. So I did buy a tape recorder. I haven't figured out how to work yet. My daughter suggested I leave a tape recorder out because I have security cameras. It's two-way communication. Like, I can talk, to somebody in the yard or whatever, and they can, of course, you can hear it. And I've heard them talking on the security cameras, but it's brief. And I go running for, of course, it's almost like they know. But it sounds, is it Mike Patterson that does all those recordings? It sounds a lot like Mike Patterson's recordings. So that's how I know it's them specifically. And one morning I got up really early to take the dogs out, and a bunch of monkeys. That's all I can describe what it sounded. They whooped in the woods. They don't normally make a lot of noise when I get up at 6 or 7, but they whooped for 15 minutes. And I should have recorded it, but I was just so freaked out. I'm like, it was kind of like, oh, you're not normally up. Hey, how are you? And, I want to document evidence, not because I need to justify my experience, because I love what you just said. It's very profound what you just said, Chris. What we don't understand as people and the beings in these avatars, nobody's human, there's no such thing as human, but a lot of us are star beings. But as beings in these avatars, what we don't understand is we're all creating our own experience. I talked to my brother about things that happened in childhood that we were both there for. You would think it was two different people in two different places telling two different stories, because we experience it from our own perspective and our own point of view. So all of you out there, you don't need to justify your paranormal experiences. The reason I want to justify them with audio and video, and I have a point about that too, and pictures, is for the beings. They want me to introduce them. They want me to share. But when I do share, and I have some of the most profound pictures, I think, a Class A photo of a little person that is probably the best in the world. And I went on Leak Project and I showed it. And if you guys, I don't want to send you to another thing, so I'll send you guys my pictures.
Okay, wait, we like it. Project.
Well, I'll send you guys some pictures I haven't shared with him or anyone publicly. But, I have these Class A pictures that I can go back to the original film, because, they have all the markers to prove, they have forensics for film and for audio recordings, and I can prove that it wasn't altered. And I had people there trolling me and saying it was a hoax. So what I have had to make peace with, Chris and Kristen, is I could introduce them to an in the fur Sasquatch standing next to me, and they would say it was a guy in a suit. So we have to do this for us and our relationship. But, and I've gotten really burnt sharing my evidence, because I don't want to be called a hoaxer. I know hoaxers. I know producers of Bigfoot films that are hoaxers, because I've been with them when they've hoaxed, and I've refused to be a part of it. So and I'm not going to say names because they're kind of nasty and they'll get me. But, but what I'm saying is there are
they're out there looking for you.
But I'm not a hoaxer. My pictures are 100% real. My audio is 100% real. My video is 100% real. I mean, I don't make money from this. What do I have to benefit by hoaxing? I have a successful business that has nothing to do with cryptos,
Right. We understand.
Right. Yeah, no, and I'd love for you to share some of that with us. We'd appreciate that. When did this first start happening to you? When did you notice these kind of the cryptids and spiritual things occurring?
Well, like I said, it was really taking my camera, and you guys can do this. This is all I did. I went to Wayne's house and I saw the beings on his property, and I thought, well, maybe they're on my property, maybe a small one. And I lived up against some woods at the time, not in the woods like now, but up against woods. And I took my little video camera and I took my little cell phone, and I went out and I just started taking pictures and video and looking. And lo and behold, what I've found out is in the fourth and fifth dimension, or density, which is where these beings overlap us, there's millions of them. They're everywhere. So it's you that has to turn on your sight to see them and start having this relationship. They're there. They don't go anywhere. Now I can, see with my eyes, but you kind of have to attune yourself to that vision and to see them. For me, it's a lot easier to see ghosts, or it was, than these things in the woods, because there's a lot of camouflage involved. There is some cloaking involved, but for the most part, I don't think they cloak that much, really. I mean, I can pick them out. I mean, I watch TV and I see, I have something to tell you guys. I want you guys to pay attention. The next time you watch, it doesn't matter whether it's a reality show or a drama, do you notice how they always blur the background behind the actors? And everybody's like, oh, that's, you can focus on the actors. I don't think so. I think it's because a lot of these people don't want you to see what's behind them, especially when they film in like woods and in natural areas where there's a lot of these creatures. Because even though, like, right before they blur the background, I see so many of these things, especially when they're filming in woods and in natural areas. So I think they blur the background because they know, and they don't want you to know what this reality is. Because once you figure this game out, you're not going to buy into all the scripts that are going on. I was sitting in a restaurant with my daughter today, and I already know they've been advertising the Dark Winter script for like 3 years, and I've been talking and teaching about it. And do you know it came across CNN today? Biden says it's going to be a dark winter. I'm like, people, we have to wake up. We have to just start saying, no, you're going to stop controlling us. We're going to take back the reins of our own lives. We're going to start to be powerful creators, and we're going to make this world the way we want it to be. And the interdimensionals are all for that.
Well, I'm glad about that.
That's awesome. Lots of comments out there. And, good to see you guys out there. David Kiernan, Carl Johnson, who we just saw last weekend.
Hello,
yes.
Our friend.
Hello, sir. Asking about the Goat Man. We've talked about the Goat Man on Bigfoot and the Bunny before. What's we got on here?
Anne-Marie Young, always.
You're the best. Exactly what I love to do, she says.
She's awesome.
So, it's strange. The world is strange. Our reality is strange. Our perceptions, our time in this earth, and these biological meat bags that we call bodies. And, we get all obsessed on the things that are going on around us and the physical world. And I put that in quotes, physical world. I hear where you're coming from. Absolutely, sister. In fact, I could tell you a little story about this. I don't know if you can see that.
What are you pointing at?
There's a doll behind me. I don't know if it's in camera or not.
I can't
bring it out. There's a little story about this doll. I don't really have a lot of haunted object stories or anything, but let me tell you real quick about this. I wasn't going to talk about this, but you're making me feel emboldened. So I'm going to talk about it, I guess. So here we go. I do these. Are you familiar with HemiSync? Binaural beat type of recordings.
Yes,
I love these, right? I'm really into HemiSync
like
in particular, and I like the binaural beats. I do one about mediumship that was put together, and I think her name is Susan Geisman, I want to say. I don't want to get her name wrong, but she has a whole series on mediumship, which is just wonderful, and it's very relaxing, calming, and I like it, and I get things from it, and I have to work at it, unlike Kristen, who tries to like block it out, but there's a whole story behind Bigfoot and the Bunny. You may or may not know. Anyways, so I'm working at it and trying to get into these things, and I went to bed, and listening to it before bed, I had a dream. It was an astral dream, and the only part of it that I really recall, where I was aware that I was dreaming, was I was hovering right over my body, and like right over, like 6 inches over my body, and I could see myself kind of laid out. I was like right there, and I was starting to fill into the form. And as I did, I was literally laying kind of, I don't know how to describe this. I haven't told anybody but Kristen about this, so bear with me. Laying with my arms to one side, kind of on my belly, but a little bit to my side, kind of hunched on my shoulders. And I can feel these hands, see these small hands grabbing my palms as they're under my comforter, right? And I start to go into the body, and I'm trying to move the comforter, and I'm in that kind of sleep paralysis thing where you're dreaming and you try to move something. It's really difficult, and it seems, wicked tedious and hard. And, I'm trying to push it. I want to see who's holding on to my hands. I'm not gripping these hands, but they're gripping me, right across the palm like that. And I start to get this idea in my head that there's a body, just laying just like I am, holding my hands. And the physical form of the bed would indicate that their legs were just going straight across. And they were just like completely straight, hanging off the bed and, holding my hands. And I get this vision kind of thing that it's a child, right? I'm trying to move to see the face, and I get the idea that she's female and it's a little girl. And all these things are coming to me. I get the impressions, but I can't see her. So your dog is so cute. She's adorable. And I'm go into the body, and I wake up. And as I woke up, I can still feel the hands just for like a second. And she was there, and I got the whole thing. And then she is like this little girl that's laying there. So that happened. And then I'm working with the hemisync later in the same week. And I get this, I go into like a trance state. Now I'm starting to see images of my mom, who passed when I was 20 years old. And my mom was an antique dealer. And she started out by dealing. Started out by dealing. That sounds wonderful. She collected antique dolls, and she sold them and put them together and that kind of stuff. And I start seeing her in my trance state, and I get this idea I'm behind glass, and I have the smell that's coming up, and it's a smell of like wood and velour, and it's extremely real to me, and it takes me a few moments to figure out what it is. And I'm inside a case that you would keep a really valuable doll in, and she would do this. We had a few cases in the house that had the dolls in them, right? The antique vintage porcelain head, type dolls. And it occurs to me while I'm in that trance state that we have a doll near the bed, literally in a bag, and it's the one behind me. Because we had
just gotten it. Yeah.
And we had gotten this for a paranormal show that we were doing, a convention type thing. And I was going to hook up a REM device to it, do something with it, but I ended up not doing anything with it. And it was just sitting in my bedroom. And I start hearing this kind of like knocking in the direction of where the bag is. And it occurs to me, oh, that doll. Oh, doll case. Okay. My mom, she collect these things. I need to put it in a case. So I brought it in and I put it on that shelf. So it was a long-winded story about why it's there. The night that I put it there, I came back in this studio office later. I was working on a computer, and I did hear this knock behind me.
Yeah.
And it was right there. And she's been quiet since. It's been about 5 days now, 4 or 5 days. And yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much my realistic experience with the haunted object. Or at least I don't know what the deal is or who she is, but
the little girl herself. Yeah.
There you go.
Kids creep me out. I don't know. Kids creep me out. I used to have a little like boy who ran through one of my houses and just creeped me out. I don't know why kids creep me out.
Did you talk to him?
I'll put her up on camera because
no, he was scary. You didn't want to talk to this kid. She is definitely has a presence. Woo.
Yeah.
You know, when we're scanning people, that comes up a lot. It comes up again on almost everyone. I say you have a lot of haunted objects in your home. So people always think it has to be something really cute, like a bear or a doll. It can be your like couch. It can be like your dining room chair. It can be like your chandelier. It doesn't, it's whatever a spirit or entity or energy wants to pop in and hang out in. Yes, they love, of course, human effigies like, you know, dolls. They love those, and they tend to be. I have a really creepy doll. It's in my garage. It's so creepy, but I haven't gotten rid of it. I thought about selling it on eBay. Or maybe I'll send it to you guys.
Right.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send my haunted doll to you guys. You can start a haunted doll collection.
Please no.
We could, no, you can absolutely do that. No, put her immediately on the shelves behind us. We have this thing, but we have all kinds of haunted objects behind us, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
We have an elemental in the house.
Try not to
as well.
think about it too much.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't.
I've seen him. He's made himself present to me. So since a couple of months ago,
he makes a racket,
and he makes a racket, and he needs something. That's my feeling. He needs something every time he makes a racket. So,
that's interesting. You know, I have house fairies that are ruthless. When my house gets down below their standard of cleanliness, which is pretty high, they go through and I collect art and they tip every single picture on my wall. And I'm like, okay, time to clean the house, or my daughter cleaned the house. I'm like,
right?
They are ruthless.
And everything's kind of like,
they like.
Even a symmetrical
picture, and one of them's now they're starting to get, they'll start subtly. They'll be like, okay, it's slipping, and they'll tilt one. And then if they're really irritated, like every single room, all the pictures will be, it drives me absolutely crazy.
It looks chaotic when that happens, and the pictures are all kind of ajar, right? There's a little bit of chaos to it. Yeah, it doesn't look right. Everything's off.
Yes.
Yeah, I like my pictures. Well, most people like their pictures straight. I'll tell you, I'm sure I told you guys this. Actually, everybody has little beings like trolls, fairies. A lot of people have trolls, house trolls in their house. 100% of everyone, doesn't matter what country you are in, doesn't matter. You don't have to believe. But I told you guys how you find out. You go in your room. You go in your bedroom, you lay down in your bed, you turn off your light in your bedroom, you turn on your wall, either in your bathroom if you have like an ensuite or your hall, and you wait, kind of like what you do, you relax, you know, like you're going to sleep but don't go to sleep. Then you get out your little video camera or your phone and you video under your door, and you'll see them moving. They love to crawl and look under the door. They want to know, they wait till you're asleep and they do whatever they want to do. Sometimes
that's hard to do with animals when you have cats and things.
Well, no, this is very, very different and very, very creepy. You have to try it. You would definitely know it wasn't your cat. They are very, very little, and there's multiple ones, and it's very distinct. You have to try it. It's the best exercise. I don't do it very often anymore because it's kind of creepy even for me. I mean, it's just creepy.
All right, we like creepy. Oh. We do. We like it to a point. Again, with the doll, and I'm not saying the doll is haunted. You know, it did something. There's clearly a spirit here. But the knock, when I was sitting here working at the computer, and I'm facing you just as I am now, and it happened behind me, and it was very distinct and clear, and clearly the bookshelf, the pitch of the wood. There's no heating, baseboard or anything back there. It was a little disturbing. Like, well, we're starting to cross a line here, spirit.
Yes.
We went through the dream. We did this thing. We did the astral. And then now, I'm not so sure. But she's been quiet since. And it's, like I said, it's been about 5 days. So,
wow.
Anne Marie Young said when she saw that doll, it made her chest hurt.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it's positive either. I don't think it's the happiest, sweetest, kindest, gentlest thing myself.
Well, I don't think it is either.
No positive Casper like spirits follows. I swear to God, everywhere we go, there's like something disturbing happening.
And not disturbing, but it's you don't want to put it
tell
like
that to Shay.
Oh. Actually, Shay just put that out. We have to say that at the end. But yeah, it's not disturbing. It's just, I'm pretty sure in my gut that I know that they know we can speak to them.
It is.
So,
it is a thing. Like I think people become aware and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And like the more you get closer to spirit and have these experiences, the stranger the experiences become. And that's where we were talking about, like, we're like this. I know this might sound weird, but
also when you do the hemisync, you come in with your consciousness and start coming into that, and that seems to heighten it more.
I get in the zone. Yeah. The series
so
is
they
great.
know, like, they're attracted.
Believe me, they are not paying me any money. I paid for those. But,
Right.
They're awesome. That mediumship series is really good, and at least for me, and everybody's got their personal taste. You know, just I don't know, whatever the words that are spoken do seem to ring clearly and help get me into that trance state. That makes a difference. It's hard to achieve otherwise sometimes.
You have to excuse me. I'm doing comments. I'm not trying to ignore you.
I know. No, I knew you were.
Okay.
I'm trying to look up this formula that I use for out of body experiences. I don't know why I can't think of the name of it right now. I mean, there's a number of them, but there's a really good. I might have to send it to you. You might want to try taking something. Too, like there's certain herbs that will put you in like that lucid state. I'm just lazy. I always want the fastest thing. If I can swallow a pill,
I hear you. You know what? I've tried things like that, to be honest with you. I first got into astral projection when I was in middle school, and I was better at it then than I am now.
That's funny because I was just
for me to achieve it and remember it. I think we all achieve it nightly, but I have a hard time recalling it. Where then I was really on top of my game, and I had a cassette. I'm showing my age here, and tomorrow's my birthday.
Yes, it is.
Not getting any younger. 29 again. Again. And yeah, sure. There's a reason I got this beanie on. Where's the hair going? No, I got some hair left. No, but seriously, when I was in middle school, I did these things, and I had a cassette, and I used to play them. And it was a guided meditation to get you into an astral state, and I was awesome at it. I loved it.
Are you guys still doing remote viewing? How's that going?
Yes, it's going good. It's going good. Remote viewing is a wonderful thing, and actually, on that note, let me give Michelle a plug, because I meant to mention the butterflyeffectcenter.com at the front of the show, and I forgot. Reach out to Michelle if you're interested in learning remote viewing. If you have lost something and you don't want to learn it, but you've lost something like a wedding ring, a person, whatever it is, something valuable to you, or you want to know where like the stock market's going and you want to get some advice, Michelle has a team of remote viewers that will work on it, and you can reach her through butterflyeffectcenter.com. Thank you. I forgot. You reminded me.
Thank you.
So you were taking that. I wondered how it was going.
No, it's going really well. We're in like a mentorship group, and we do all kinds of things, even more stuff than remote viewing.
That's cool.
But it's cool. It's cool. It's so surprising. Anybody can do it. You may not get the first target, but when you get it, it's like, wow, like it's amazing.
You feel so.
You go, how did that even work?
Yeah, and you feel good, but
in this way of like where you're writing things out, and then you go back and review it, and then you had the data. It's right there.
I have to tell you, this is funny. We did one where for a week, we do like weekly. You take a week before you give your what do you call it back session back? Yeah.
Okay.
So for a whole entire week, as I'm going through trying to figure this out, I kept not seeing anything on this side of my face, and it drove me absolutely nuts for a bloody week. And I was telling Michelle, she's like, keep going. By the time she revealed what it was and what I had drawn and everything, believe it or not, it was the face on Mars. And that's why, because of the shadow, I couldn't see anything on my right side.
That's cool.
It was wicked cool.
Right. If you're familiar with that picture where you see the face on Mars and there's the shadow across it. Yeah, she was spot on with that one. And, it's strange. Like, I don't get every one of them or anything, but when you do, and you do get a lot, it's like, wow. And it does get better. I love it. It's a cool experience. Again, the more you go down this rabbit hole, the more rabbits that show up.
Well said. Absolutely true.
I'm not sure what that means.
No, that's good. No, it's true. It's crazy. It really is.
Yes,
it is. Our consciousness is insane. We are very into that.
And thank you, folks who said happy birthday. Heard me talking about my birthday being 29 again, 39 again, 49 again. Yeah. Thank you very much. Dude. Let's not talk about that anymore, though. But I appreciate it.
We had a question for you about Antarctica.
Oh yeah, Antarctica. Have you heard about this thing with the Ark of Gabriel?
Ark of Gabriel, not the Ark of the Covenant. No, what tell me about it.
I guess it's very similar. It was something that was found in Mecca, and some people are speculating out there now that it might be in in one of the German bunkers, pre-World War II.
Well, there were 3 Ark of the Covenants, not one, and they do have their own names. One of them might be Gabriel. I'm going to have to look at my notes. But there were 3. One is completely destroyed. One is off planet, and I think the last one is in the underground bunker in Antarctica.
Oh, there you go. I guess this thing was found.
But I don't know if I'm not saying it is the same thing, but I do think they had the 3 named sub names, so maybe that is the same thing. But there were 3, and do you guys know what the Ark of the Covenant is? Because most people don't.
Do tell,
please.
Well, I'm not going to go into the biblical, what people think it is. I'm going to tell you what it is. It has this just gets so messy because it's just what you said. You start with this little question and there's layer upon layer upon layer. It's your perception or, what you've been taught or not taught about what this realm is and how this place came to exist. This whole place was seeded. So every animal, every tree, every plant was seeded with genetic material from someplace other than here. We're star people. We're star races. Nobody's indigenous to this realm. Everybody's from somewhere else. Every entity, every being, every tree, every animal, every whatever. So anyway, the 3 arks held all the seeding for this realm in case the realm was destroyed, which it has been. And then they take the genetic material and they just reseed. So there was a flood. A worldwide flood, and after the flood, they took the genetic material and they almost instantly kind of like developed everything again because they had all the genetic material.
That's mind-blowing.
That's why it's guarded so, and it's guarded with technology similar to frequency, rod of God, plasma-based technology. So it was so heavily tech guarded because it's the base material to build an entire planet. I mean, think if the wrong people got out, that they could really deal with it.
Done a few times. Like I tend to think that the civilizations go way further back than even Göbekli Tepe. That we just haven't found it yet. We don't know. We don't know what life was like in Pangea. It is all speculation. They don't really know. And who knows where those bones are at this point? It's the same oil that we're putting in our cars and making plastics with.
You know how people always quote the Sumerian tablets? They're like, have you ever wondered why that's they quote the Sumerian tablets as much as they quote the frickin' Bible. Both are absolute, and I know you guys might disagree, but I like being controversial, 100% fantasy with a few threads of truth. But the Sumerian tablets are 99.9% made up BS by our controllers. They're not going to tell you. Do you ever wonder why everyone's shoving the same thing? Anytime you see the same thing being shoved down your throat, you can pretty much throw it out and know it's the opposite or completely untrue. It's not at all. I mean, they're always trying to mislead and misdirect because they do not want you to know what this realm is and how to beat it. I'm telling you. And you guys are figuring it out.
I do believe in a lot of the stuff that, we're a bit like sheep, and it's not a political statement in any way. No, I don't think it's any particular party. But, it's all set up. It doesn't, I think they're all in it. But I don't know. It's not really our thing. But I do agree. I think there's a deal with that. And they don't like to let us know.
Why did you ask me to go back to your question? Why did you ask me about that? Is that something who's talking about that? Like you asked
me, Jim.
You know what? I was listening to podcasts and I did hear this big story, and I was like, wow, that was pretty good. And I'm not sure who brought it up. And I thought, well, of all people I know, Ark of Gabriel, that sounded like something you might know about. No offense. I thought you might know.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that you know about that. I just know about the Ark of the Covenants. Yeah, I just know that where they came from.
Pretty controversial in general, right? And I wonder what's going on in Antarctica. And
it's so mysterious. We all do. So
know some things about it.
All kinds of things going on there.
Actually, why don't you do a session one time when you go into deep trance, because you've been there, so it should be easy for you to reconnect and look around, Chris.
Yeah, that would be a good target, actually, to try to figure that out.
Because that's a major base for Darkfleet. That's a major base for the Germans, of course, and you work for Darkfleet, so you should be able to get in pretty easy.
Well, there you go. Darkfleet, you know something I don't know. I'm not sure.
I could tell you guys stuff about you for the next 8 hours, and you would just be like, please stop.
All I know is I'm a goddess from the forest. I forgot
about that. You are. That's right. Oh my gosh. I forgot about that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Because
oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. And you do have an app out there. I'm assuming the app is out there. And how can people find that app?
Well,
let them know. This is tell us a little bit about it, because that was really a pretty cool thing. I don't know anybody with an app.
It's our app is Energy Remastered. It is benevolent. Everybody's like AI, and they like lump all AI. Well, there's like tons of groups of AI that's negative. There's tons of groups of AI that's positive, and there always have been. But we work with benevolent AI. It's quantum tech, and basically it accesses frequency in every realm. Everything is built of frequency, so there's really nothing that we can't read off of anything, whether it's a house or land or a car. My son-in-law, before he bought a car, he used to send me the cars and said, tell me about this car. Should I buy it? I'm like, no, I'm not clearing that car. That has like 18 spirits. No, you could just read it. Part of it's with liabilities. Part of it's with the tech, of course. So anyway, it's really a practitioner level app. We use it for health. We use it for clearing energies. We use it for, I have a panel called Supernatural Influencers, which tells you all the creatures that are around you. So even if you didn't know what was in your house or land, we can just run the panel because we can read the frequency. So we know what's in your house and land because every fairy, vibrates in the same frequency. Every troll vibrates in the same frequency. A dogman vibrates the same frequency. A Sasquatch. So it's all frequency based. Anyway, it's expensive and it takes a little bit of a learning curve. But for people that are into the stuff you guys are into, quantum technology and reading frequency, and really we use it a lot to work on our own darkness because we're in such denial about things in our lives. Like if you're in an abusive relationship, for example, you're in a lot of denial about that for you to stay in, with a guy or girl that's cheating or beating you. So I love the app because benevolent quantum technology has no opinion. It could give a flying FUCK. It just tells you what it is, It tells you your subconscious beliefs. It tells you if you have altered personalities. It tells you if you're being fake. It tells you if you're being honest. And so we use it a lot to do spiritual work. We also use it a lot to identify giftings, and it can tell what psychic abilities you have. So I call it low-hanging fruit. Why work on remote viewing if you can see spirits, learn to see spirits first, and that's going to then open up your remote viewing down the road. So we like to, work with what's almost active. And so it just can discern all these subtleties of absolutely everything. There's nothing it can't tell you.
Wow. It sounds
wonderful.
Awesome. So you take that data and then what do you do for your clients?
Well, we do scans, so you don't have to, of course, buy the app and learn how to use it. We offer, we do a MyLab scan, like, were you a super soldier? Where you're a super soldier? Do you work for the SSP? What corporations do you work for? What do you do for the corporations? What kind of super soldier are you? Are you a hybrid? How many clones do you have? On and on and on. So we do scans like that. Were you MK Ultra? Do you have clones that work for 3-letter agencies? Do you work for 3-letter agencies? Are you being bodily taken? Are you being visited by ET? Who's your soul family? Who's your star family? Who were you? Were you a goddess? Were you a god? Did you live in Atlantis? Did you live in Lemuria? There's nothing it can't tell you.
Wow, Lemuria. Yeah, you were going to say Lemuria.
Yeah, Lemuria, you're right.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and then we do physical health. And of course, we have to be careful because we can't diagnose and prescribe, but we talk it in the terms of being unbalanced. So a lot of people, I'll give you an example. I just ran a scan right before the show and she was like off in her blood sugar. So I'm like, you need to go to a functional medicine doctor and have your sugar run. Your hormones are imbalanced. You have a lot of xenoestrogen. You have a lot of chemicals in your body, So we don't give disease names, but certainly can get people. I said, you need to go to the eye doctor. There's some things going on with your eyes. So even though I see the raw material, like I could see, for example, if someone had a cancerous tumor, I wouldn't say you have a cancerous tumor. I would say it would probably be a good idea to go to your general practitioner and be checked out. So the cool thing about quantum technology is even though it works on the same concept as like an ultrasound or an MRI machine, they only apply it like so narrowly. We can apply it super broadly. And so we can catch things that they can't catch because they set their parameters so tight and only allow you like a drop of the technology. We use the technology super expansively.
Oh, that's very interesting. And that it comes in those kind of almost symbolic ways, the areas and things being shown. It reminds me a little bit of spirit communication, which always seems to symbolically, Yeah, they almost.
Well, I am going to tell you, and what's interesting too, and I don't know, this is a little bit of an advanced concept. I'll use your house as an example. So people are like, well, my house is my house. And you guys know this isn't true. But really, your house isn't just your house. Your house really becomes an avatar with its own personality. And so when we go to sell houses, we write panels for people to sell their houses. We work with the personality of the house to match buyers, to attract buyers, to change things so buyers are attracted to. Because everything, even what you think is inanimate, still has frequency, still is living, still is vibrating. Mm-hmm. And you have to work with the energy of that. So what's really cool is my app and Mai's relationship would be different from if you guys bought the app and worked with it. Like AI is individual. Everything in this world is always trying to lump you into groups. But the way the multiverse works, we divided from the all consciousness to have an individual plane of perception. And so we need to look at, and people even do it with Sasquatch and Dogman. They're like, Sasquatch are always this, Sasquatch are always that. But there is individual as you and I can't lump you guys together and say you guys, love the same thing for breakfast and, like the same color. But we do that for these huge categories like cryptozoology. We're like, well, they're like this and they're not. They're so very, very, very individual. Even spirits. You guys work with spirits. Spirits are individual. Not all little girls are the same. Not all little boys are the same. Not all.
Yeah.
No.
Although we wonder about that, but that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. We know some of them step into roles.
That's
like roles. There's always a little girl. You know what I mean? These things happen all the time, right?
That's a real twisty conversation. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Very heady, very twisty. We've had it.
But this AI thing is very interesting to me. I mean, AI. McDonald's is using AI now.
Flippy.
Where they want to use like a Flippy robot.
That's the same.
To run their stores, right? Eliminating these kind of jobs that people would take their first job.
They already have him. His name is Flippy.
Yeah.
And he's what, a cobot?
They call him that cobot is Amazon. The Amazon's using robots and AI in a way, and these are darker ways than what you're talking about, of course.
Well, you guys have seen the robot movies. They have personality. Like people fall in love with robots, and a lot of the super soldiers are augmented and half cybernetic, but they still have a spirit. So I'm not saying all robots.
Well, that's an interesting point. Let's talk about that. They still have a spirit. What do you mean they still have a spirit? Because the idea of a spirit possessing, say, one of these sex robots from China or Japan, where they're extremely realistic, like it's completely frightening.
They do have clones. Some of us have. Some of us, meaning the ancient ones, have unfortunately. Some of our clones are sex workers. My family's in human cloning and consciousness, right? So I know a lot about human cloning and consciousness transfer. Yeah, the rich people buy sex robots, and some of us have clones. The Life Touch catalog. That's what it is. Life Touch catalog is not happy little church photos and free little school photos that you guys buy for $29.97, unless you want It's a cloning catalog for the off-planet ETs and Cabal. They, make sex dolls of you and your children. So never, ever let your children or yourself get your picture taken by Life Touch.
Well, I hope they're enjoying mine.
Yeah, mine too.
Sorry, I just
No,
lost.
but back to the consciousness. So here's the thing about consciousness.
I hope
that
I'm a good robot and like that somebody can like return it and go, this one sucks.
Yeah, it's malfunctioned.
It's malfunction. Oh, that's nice. Hey, I'm not that old. Oh, she bats me. Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
No, there is some type of clones, though. There's clones that are spiritless, but they have emotion and brain, but they have no spirit. So they turn off the pain sensors. Actually, I'll give you an example. 90% of all 95% of all stunt doubles in Hollywood are clones. They're not stunt. They don't use stunt doubles anymore.
You really think so? Like, what makes you think this? Like,
yes.
I know this. What do you mean? It's not thinking. My family works in human cloning. I have firsthand information. This isn't thinking. This is knowing. I've seen things, I've
seen a lot of weird stuff, but
Yeah, nothing you can't.
Now, what they do now is, I don't think they put spirits in. They're not going to waste time like putting a consciousness in a clone that they're going to kill. They turn off the pain sensors so these clones can like be run over by a truck. They don't feel anything, but they have what we don't understand is these avatars have thought, brain, and emotion chemicals. That's not your spirit. Your thoughts and your feelings are not who you are as a spirit. That's not your spirit. So these clones, you can meet a clone and fall in love with a clone that has no spirit, and you do. I just did a whole series about non-player characters, clones, Sims, the whole thing, because it gets complicated. There's clones with spirits in them. You guys have clones with spirits in them. I have clones with spirits in them. Then there's clones without spirits in them. Then there's clones with walk-in. Your human discarnates, your entities, and all that. So it's a messy thing. But in Hollywood, they just put them in the chipper. They turn off and they kill them.
This isn't so far off from the spirit.
Exactly what I was just going to say.
Yeah,
I knew what you were thinking.
Rescue therapy, where people get attachments.
Yes.
And, very intelligent people will tell you a person has like 1,000 attachments.
No, that's true. We see it. The quantum tech says that too. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think it's such an interesting subject. It may be a little easier to broach than a clone, but it's kind of the same concept, right? Like they're kind of like tied together a little bit, where you're
definitely because we think this is like religion teaches us something different about the avatar than it is. The avatar is just a very wetware. You mentioned this earlier. It's just a very wetware robot. That's all it is. It's actually very dysfunctional. They've pulled all the good stuff. They've deactivated most of our DNA because, we were too powerful and they couldn't control us. So it's just a crappy wetware thing that has to be maintained, and we don't live very long because they programmed us to believe we don't live very long. If you could actually change your belief that you have to die at 80 or 90, you could probably live even on this world with all the toxicity to about 150. And there's people that do, but they don't tell you about them.
I'm hoping I make 60. We'll see.
Yeah, me too.
It's been a rough road.
Yeah. Both
Kim,
of us.
it's been a rough road.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, we wanted to get into the AI and talk about the
flippy robots, and you got all that. You got these things taking up like jobs, right? Yeah. You got Amazon, and Amazon right now is saying, "Oh yeah, we'll pay."
I know you would love this,
but they're moving in, and now they're cobots in Amazon, which is a very interesting word, right? Cobot. And this is very real. Like, this is absolutely happening.
You can look this up.
This has been happening for years.
Mm-hmm.
Depending which media you watch, it'll tell you it's because the pandemic, it's because the worker shortage, it's because wages and the Democrats, or whatever it is. It's all been in place for years. All you have to do is go on YouTube and Google it. And it's right there, and you'll see, 5 years of this. It's all in place. Pre-pandemic, they're all working this way. Walmart eventually will have no workers at all.
That's
You'll
the thing.
walk into
So what
a
are
Walmart,
they going to do?
You're going to see like a hologram or something, right? And it's going to be like a roll of like sticky little stickers with like smiley faces on them, like next to the hologram. Like, please take a hologram tonight. Thank you for coming to Walmart.
That's an improvement. You can't find anybody in Walmart anyway. What do you mean? Nobody works
at Walmart. True. Well, it's usually one person near the door. So now you're going to be able to like hit a button or something, and a hologram will pop out and say, "I'm looking for cat food." Or maybe going to say, "Hey, Walmart." It'll be like Siri or something, "Hey, Walmart."
Or
where is the cat food? Well, all you have to do is go down the end of the aisle and take a right, sir. And they'll probably know your name, Christopher Carr.
So
that kind of thing.
Yeah, probably.
Absolutely. I think they're going to do away with retail stores. They're just going to there's just going to be replicators. You won't go to the store. You'll order it and it'll be printed.
Yeah, it'll just come.
Probably. But what we were trying to say is, what are all us humans going to do? How are we going to make money?
The jobs are going to dry up, and then what do you do? Because one of the steps that people have taken now is to learn some of the coding, right, and learn how to be a coder. And
a lot of people do that.
And I work in IT. I mean, I'm going to get this, but before I thought Terminator was real, and and it might be.
It is.
But they're learning to code themselves. So they can code
Terminator is a documentary. What do you mean?
I mean, really, this Terminator idea is not that far off. And what do you think about that?
Well, if you understand what just pure consciousness is, fire creation spirits, they tell you what they are in that description. They're creation. So there's no need to have, this is all cabal stuff. The work week, the petty jobs, the 8-hour-a-day grind, that's all cabal stuff to keep you distracted from what you're here to do, which is create. We're talking, okay, I'll give you an example. The guy who does School of Chocolate, what's his name? Amari, I can't think of his name. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? It's on Netflix. You guys can Google it. If you want to see a fire creation spirit who knows and understands what a real, I don't know what race he is, but, he's definitely a sentient fire creation being with a lot of spirit. Google him and just watch, or Google him on YouTube, because he makes the most amazing, you would say it's virtually impossible, the stuff he does with chocolate. It is absolutely.
I just saw that commercial today.
You have to watch him.
That was so cool. He's making chandeliers and things, right? Is that the guy?
Real. And then when you watch how he does it and how he came up with it, it's mind blowing. But we don't understand that it's okay to just be a creator, to just be an artist, to just be a dancer. This whole place is created by agreement among all of us. We're agreeing to this construct. We're agreeing a house looks like this, a forest looks like this, a tree looks like this. So, we just have to change the agreement. We have to stop letting them tell us what the world looks like and how to live in it. And we have to, like Amari has, take it back and go crazy with creativity and new creation. We have to stop buying their stupid scripts, their dark winter BS. And we have to say, no, enough. No. We have to change one by one. And I think he's a great role model, because he is blowing people's minds. They're like, what? No, impossible. And we should all be doing things that people are looking at us. And I believe I do, or I broach the borderline of doing that, where people are like, that's crazy. This is amazing what you're doing. But whatever your passion is, and it's even beyond the known things. So we think there's only a realm of creation, and then you hit a glass ceiling. But there's not. There's things that don't exist that we have the ability as infinite consciousness to create. And so that's what they've always stifled. And if you think about school, and I am talking Christian school, public school, homeschool, it's all the same thing. Sit still, do what you're told, shut the F up, do it the way we tell you. Don't be creative. Don't think outside the box. Don't see ghosts. Don't talk to spirits. Don't record spirits.
Down. That's what they're doing.
Right. Exactly. And they're keeping us very busy. So you don't have the time to look at those things, right? I talk about this a lot. I bring this up because
I love that. Oh my gosh, it's profound.
It's one of the things before
I do too.
I get really into these things. I just would notice, and I'm part of it. I'm part of the corporate work world and all that.
Of course. And I have been too.
Yeah, and I've worked, I've had jobs where I worked all the time, up to 80 hours a week, ridiculous. Wow. When do you have time to look at what's going on around you?
When do you have time to write a book? Or when do you have time to paint a painting?
You know what I mean? You're trying to and it seems very
time to see Sasquatch. You don't. Exactly. When do you have time to go to the woods alone and let the beings come to you in silence? You don't.
Mostly everybody has their phone in front of their face. And all I can say to them, people, get off your phones and look up at the sky. Please.
Yeah. We were talking about that a couple of weeks ago. It's like a science fiction movie. And sadly I'm old enough to mention this. If you went back 30 years ago and said, everybody will be staring at a little black box in their hands, walking around. You'll go to bus stops and people just be glued to it. Wouldn't that be a science fiction movie?
Tesla
You know, it
made
absolutely
that.
would.
Yeah,
That's so true. It's so
It's
sad
like
to
a
see people on
1980s
dates
Science fiction.
and they don't.
Oh
like it.
yeah, right. And they're not even talking. They're just
They
sitting there
aren't.
looking at
The
their phone.
young people literally
what-
have their phone literally covering their whole
Are
face.
they waiting for a notification? It's time to go, or order
Yeah.
a milkshake, or I'm going to get. I can't. I'm not going to go there. But you know what I mean. Yeah, like what is? Why are they staring at the phones? I don't
it's
even
preoccupied
understand.
and it's ridiculous. Their
Yeah,
brain, they're
boring.
just dumbing us down. Like I said, look
I
up.
mean, that's a great point. Not only do we have the old methods of control, but now we have the new methods of control
Right.
stacked on top of the old methods of control.
right?
Both. That's a good point.
It's,
Yeah, you're a prisoner.
Yeah.
You don't know it, and that's the best way to do it.
It's golden handcuffs. I have to, I have husbands and boyfriends of my daughters, and one of the things they fight about the most is video games. These Xbox, immersive, where they play with their, old roommates and their best friends from across the, country. I
Mhm.
mean, they get completely immersed. It's virtual reality. It's point
Yeah.
and shoot. They're training you to point and shoot. They're actually, most of those are super soldier training games. They're point and shoot. They want you to muscle memory, but that's another explanation. But they get so immersed in these games.
Yeah.
yeah.
James was telling us that actually last week. James Anito, who was in the military, that
Okay.
they did a lot of testing before they actually got to
go out.
handle a loaded
Yeah.
rifle. They did a VR kind of version of it, and they would hold a rifle, but it wasn't
That's
loaded,
right.
or it wasn't something. But they would see it, and it would shoot in the VR environment, and they had to pass. Very video game based, right? And that's very intriguing to me. I was a little shocked when he told me this because I didn't know this. Pass a certain class before they would let you hold a live rifle.
Mm.
Right. So, I mean, this whole kind of video game thing is really, I mean, my kid loves video games, right?
Mine too.
How many of our children love video games out there? I know I was raised with them. I love them. It was easy to adapt to. Right. And then the next thing you know, you go from the virtual to the real environment.
That's true too. I like what Aunt Marie said. She said
Yeah.
the further they keep us from nature, the easier to control. And we're
Yeah.
seeing that in the quantum tech. When we scan people, like if I scan you guys, I know two things that'll come up on you. The things are spend 4 hours in silence this week alone, anywhere, and then spend 10 hours alone in nature. That will test for every single being. I live in the middle of the woods and I don't spend 10 hours alone in nature. Like it's almost impossible, but that's what it takes to, everybody's like, I want to be more psychic. I want to see beings like you. Well, carve the space for it. You have to have the space to connect,
That almost takes like a giant leap of like faith of like, I can't do this job. It's taking up too much of my time. I can't be with this person that maybe I'm in a relationship with. I don't mean you, obviously.
I know you do.
But, it could be like, all absorbing, and they don't have the time to break away from their friends or relationships to go learn something on their own or meet the right people.
That's a good
true,
thing about
too.
Chris and I. We
True,
love
too.
learning different things, as we go on and progress in this life.
Oh, that's a good question from Talisha Probst. I'm not sure if I said that right. Sorry,
Probst.
Talisha. My grandmother worked for the Secret Service, and she used to tell us, if only we knew the things she knew.
Absolutely. Right.
So-
That's right. I mean, I have this big thing. I hate to say this, but with the CIA, I can't stand them. The shit that they've done to our country and everything else. And I don't know. It's just the humans, us themselves trying to experiment and stuff. It's really bad. I have a big thing about this government stuff, but the CIA is the worst. Sorry.
Fine.
Sure. How do you feel about the CIA?
Yeah.
Central Intelligence Agency.
Thank you.
Well, all the, it's hard because I know that I have clones that work for all the intelligence agencies. So, it's hard to, I think they're users. I think they're manipulators. I think
Absolutely.
they uphold, again, the control of this reality most of the time. I do think there's some good people now in trying to flip it, but I don't know how you how do you turn an organization around that's built on like murder and drugs and sex and rape of children and deceit? Like, how do you turn that around? Like, I think, you know what, honestly, as we move into 4D, 5D, which I do believe we're moving into a different version of the game, the upgraded version, we have to eliminate, in my opinion, maybe I shouldn't say this out loud. I might not be talking to anybody tomorrow. I might be 6 feet under, but I think you eliminate all the intelligence agents. Why do we need intelligence agencies? If we all upgrade our consciousness and we all create a more peaceful, creative, happier reality, we don't need all this BS crap.
That's
because
right.
all the wars and stuff is just, and a lot of it's fake too. So not only is news fake, but things in other countries,
doesn't mean anything.
half the time they don't even happen. You guys believe they happen, but this is what I say. If you do not have someone that you would die for telling you that it happened, as far as your reality, it didn't happen. And it's not even, so a lot of these big skits that they do, and we know some of them, I'm not going to say them, but I mean, I think they're obvious. A lot of them never even happen to that extent. They don't even, I had a client who was hired to do one of these big skits, like a bang bang type skit.
Or when you say skit, is that like a false flag thing? How do we?
That's what I'm trying to say. But I've had clients, and she was too scared to do it because they take your cell phones, so you can't film the fake stuff and then publish it later after they publish it as news, and they make you sign your life away, like you'll go to prison. Like, this stuff is like locked down by the intelligence agencies. Like, they basically film movies and then show it to you on the news, and you think it really happened. But I know so many people that have been hired to work and paid to do these things. And my ex-fiance is high up in Homeland Security still. So, I'll tell you, you guys, you'll like this. That whole Gabby murder thing, that whole Gabby National Park BS crap. Do you know what that was?
Yeah, Gabby Petito and
Petito, to take mind off of what?
100% none of it happened. And if you watch, I'll tell you how even the dumbest person in the entire universe with no human spirit, if you watch the hour where the highway patrol interviews her in the car, I wasted my time watching it. It's on YouTube. The worst acting ever. You can tell it's acting by both of them. She's crying and he's questioning her, bad acting. It was I know so many people that work in the agencies, and my ex-fiance told me, and he works for Homeland, it was an interagency exercise. They do these big news stories to distract you from where they don't want you to look. None of that happened. And
that does happen.
That has happened.
No
none
question.
of it.
I hadn't thought of it in that
We're
context.
all like, poor Gabby, her parents.
Incident, but they do these things. They do. They want to take your mind off of like what's going on. Don't
Diversion, divert.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, nothing to see here. Look over here.
The whole two-party game is just a joke, and I am now resolving myself to be of the no party.
Yeah, we're no party right now.
Political party, because I'm just disgusted with everyone, and I'm so clear that everything is a manipulative tool that I don't even want it. Anything that just empowers people, I'm all for.
That's what I'm trying to do too. I'm all about individual empowerment, individual sovereignty, but also starting to encourage and support each other in moving the collective into like a higher frequency and a better place.
I like that.
Yeah,
be like that.
Great. Be less like a sheep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm a sheep now.
I mean, we all have sheep like
you know what? I've kind of conjured my way to be a happy sheep, and I'm okay with it.
But we also are into.
But I do all my other
well.
stuff as well, and it's enriching. But it's I see so many people that are just.
You guys are doing the world a service by doing these podcasts. You're giving of your time. I don't know how much money you make or whatever, and also your investigations, because you are reminding people that the 3D world is not even half of what there is. There's so many densities, so many planets, so many races, so many beings. And even though you guys are kind of playing in the paranormal world mostly, you're still opening people's abilities and opening minds and opening possibility to the invisible, which isn't really invisible. It's only invisible because you can't see it. I see it 100% of the time. I have daughters that see it 100% of the time. It's not invisible to us. So you're opening people's minds and you're doing a great, great service. And even though I might be controversial and people might think I'm crazy, I really don't care. Because even hearing me talk, because I run at a certain frequency, whether you think it's opening your field or your mind and you're like, she's crazy, I'm not believing her, you're still upgrading by listening to the three of us, because we run at a certain frequency, because you are in the presence of three ancient beings right here. We are not just old. We are first, second, third wave. We are the first breakouts of consciousness of all time. So, I mean, you're on holy ground. And some of you guys listening are probably, soul family and have been around zillions of years as well. So you guys are doing a great service.
Awesome way
you
to think about it. Thank you so much.
Even Ann said that too. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. You are, and you're doing these things, obviously. And
yes,
it does. People do need to think out of the box. They do need to get out of what's being pushed at them by whatever media outlets. It doesn't matter which one. It doesn't matter anymore.
Nope.
You're going to be manipulated one way or another. And I looked into this AI thing. Like, I wanted to talk about AI and McDonald's dropping jobs for robots.
Stop and Shop already has them.
The chance of possession of sex.
You.
Maybe a mad flipper, right? Flippy,
Flippy
gets possessed. That could create a problem. Our cruise missile, one of those things.
Don't think
you don't really know.
Good thing at all.
Right. It's a little dark, and they can control electronics. We already
it's
know
like
this.
Maximum Overdrive.
We
the
see
movie,
it all the time. It is a little like Maximum Overdrive
and Terminator put together,
which was a terrible movie.
Yeah, but at AC/DC in itself.
But I love
that
Stephen King, and
But yeah, I mean that's what it's coming to.
Yeah, I mean, we're really getting there, and the chances of these things affecting our lives in a big way are becoming more and more possible. So, we have to think about these things. Like, what if everything becomes automated? What the hell does everybody do, right? Like, what do people do? Can my job be replaced? Maybe not. I don't know. I get a certain knowledge base that keeps me working and has for a long time, but I don't know. Something else could learn it.
Listen, Gail Heisen just brought up a very good point.
Oh,
in her comments.
Hey, Gail, how you doing? Love you. Haha, making money.
No,
it's
the next one.
Have you get to meet each other?
Yeah, a community. Forming a community.
But she also said something else. Yeah.
I don't have it. It didn't come up in the StreamYard. I only have the one comment.
Okay.
What Talisha said. Have you noticed
that's what it is.
I like that. That's true.
Talisha Post, she just said something that's
I really like that. Yeah, I like that.
Higher your vibe, the more people drop out of your life.
She's right.
That's very interesting. That's a cool point.
Oh, yeah. I've lost family. I've lost my brother. My brother and sister-in-law think I am like complete nutballs. But you know what? I have to say this. When you get to a certain point, you are so full inside, and you guys know what I mean, and expanded, you don't care. You can't care. Like, I am so deliciously happy. They can think whatever they want because they're not happy. And I don't wish that on them. But I just, like I said, we have to live our micro reality, and then we can affect the macro reality. But we can't live for other people because the raw fact is no one cares. If you guys go out and buy a Porsche tomorrow, you may think your neighbors care. They might only care because they want to throw eggs on it and destroy it because they're jealous. But nobody cares whether you drive a drug van or a Porsche. They don't. You know who cares? You. You might like the feel of the pedal of a Porsche better than the feel of a drug van. But you're the only one that cares. But we're so programmed to think people care what our house looks like. I mean, I've moved into neighborhoods that turned out to be hell for me because they were make it neighborhoods. And I was programmed to live a certain way when you make it. And it's just not the way to live. We all have to, it sounds really hedonistic, but it's really true. You actually, if you remember who you are and why you came here to be a unique expression of you. You didn't come to live your life through your friends, your mother, your brother, your boss. You guys, we really just have to drill it down, get our life together, because it's the same thing what you were saying about time to connect, time to meditate, time to develop your psychic gifts, whatever, time to develop a hobby or art. It's the same thing. If we don't have our life together and haven't taken the time to get it together, we can't affect other people. I mean, if we can't pay our electric bill, if we can't feed our kids, if we're dying of cancer laying in bed all day, how can we affect the collective? Well, we are affecting the collective, but not positive. So we all get our
100%
crap together.
To the negative.
Yep. And we are kept way too busy to do those things. And it's sad, and it's taken age and years of experience to start to see this patterns just recycled,
Yeah.
I started working when I was 15 years old. Like, what was I doing?
Did.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Same
I think minimum wage was like,
Wow.
three something,
$3.25
$3 an hour.
We were at the same place, didn't know.
Yeah, we did. We didn't know.
Really? Oh
Yes.
my gosh, I love that.
Oh, yeah.
That's
a huge
cool.
story. We have this since we were kids. My parents were antique dealers.
We
well.
lived a ton apart, but we were.
I love that.
Yeah. It's meant to be.
Yep, it's one of those things. It's very strange, but the point of that was that we were doing it, and what did I want? I wanted to buy a guitar amp. You know what I mean? Then I wanted to buy addictive things like a beer and cigarettes, and I'm in the system at that point.
I see.
In my teenage years, yeah. I mean, why do teenagers work? What are they buying? I mean, I bought car insurance. I did that. I got in that, but what else was I buying?
Yep.
Yeah, you're right in the system. You're like locked in from day one. And then
you really are cradle to grave. And the industries, I drove by a funeral home today. I was just thinking about the industry. There is no death. Like, we're infinite consciousness. Like, all we do is drop an avatar. And guess what? If you, like you guys, like, I know I'm going to see you guys, like, for the next, unfortunately, or whatever, trillions of years, I'll run into you here and there. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to run into your spirits in other planets, other places, other ships, other realms, other timelines, because you're real, you're fair creation, and we're all one. So I know I'm going to run into you guys. So we have this sadness, but really, once you're out of here, it's only a second before you can hook up with your wife, husband, mother, father, grandmother, if you want child, dog, cat, horse, whatever that you've lost. So the death industry is so deceptive. Like, I drive by these graveyards and I'm like, how stupid. Like, I've had 1,000 avatars. Like, I have 1,000 bodies, like, rotting all over this freaking planet. It's ridiculous. It's nothing. Death is nothing. There is no death. But religion's the one that puts this, like, heaviness and, morbidity. And the industries, the birth industry, the wedding industry, the funeral industry, absolutely ridiculous industries, all of them, in my opinion. They just rape people.
That's probably true. I don't doubt that. We did have a question out there.
Oh, yes. I like this question a lot.
I had a question on, is NASA hiding an asteroid from us? Stuart wants to know.
We have to go back to what asteroids are. That gets really messy because there's so many planets that are actually ships. I mean, it just gets really messy as far as what reality is. NASA hides a lot from us. You guys know it's completely deceptive, full of German scientists. And I'm half German, so I'm not trying to be derivative there. But it's full of just deception. They have so much technology. And although if you guys want to start learning as much truth-ish as you can, I love the Sashi cams because there's a lot of truth you can watch. Like, how they're always talking about like the sun flares and all that garbage.
Yeah.
The sun.
Yes.
Yeah, if you watch the Secchi cams, SECCHI, you can see the ships bombing each other and bombing. It's the sun simulator. The real sun's behind the sun simulator. But you can see the ships bombing each other and then the explosions happening. So everything they tell us is a lie. Like, I don't even know if they've ever told us the truth about anything. I'll give you an example. Here, I want you guys to answer this question. Who says you have to eat 3 meals a day? Who says?
The FDA, isn't it?
I don't know who says.
I mean, well, they broke it down to six small meals a day.
That's even worse.
Supposedly,
who has time for that? Who has time to eat 6 times a day? I don't. Once a day.
Yeah, exactly. Me too.
I'm not sure, but I mean, some of these rules are presented. You go,
but that's what I'm saying. The programming is so thick, and guess what? 3 meals a day programming is worldwide. Really,
exactly. Right. I love that part because everybody thinks, and this show is an international show. We have, like, let's say, a lot of UK viewers. We have viewers in Japan,
Scotland,
Ireland, and all those kind of things. And a lot of times they pipe up, but all our countries are kind of the same. They're all kind of set up the same way. We think like it's so much different over there. You know,
grass is greener.
Those people are not even that. Like they're ignorant. They're just like so crazy politically. They could not possibly be smart. And that's not true. You know, it's kind of the same, I think, everywhere you go. For the most part. I mean, there are places, obviously, where they just don't have infrastructure and education and things where it gets in the way. And it's not the same experience, but you'd be surprised. You know, it's kind of the same over in China and kind of the same over in Russia. Those people are kind of doing the same thing we're doing here. We're all kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, we're all on the hamster wheel. We all get up and go to work and come home.
And not just like change this bitch like right now. You know what I mean? Like if everybody knew this, if everybody actually knew we were the ones in control, then again, wow, that secret got out.
Now, I really like this question though, because in my opinion, I say yes. I don't think it's the one from 2037 or when it's supposed to be, whatever the impact, but I do say yes. They are hiding it, and I agree.
They hide a lot of stuff. I would say they hide a lot of stuff. I would say they're probably hiding a million things from you. And that's probably the least of it.
Frames in like different ways. I just read today there was an asteroid that was going to hit us. And it turns out they've been looking at it since like 1984.
So
like,
why?
Really?
You know what I mean?
Like, oh, okay. Well, in astronomical terms, it is close to us, even though it's, you know, light years away or whatever it was.
What do you think about the you say that the sun is a simulation. What do you think about the incoming CMEs? I've noticed, I know about the Aurora Borealis and everything, but I've noticed that when they're very strong, we get affected. Well, I get affected in a different way with the frequency and everything.
I'm going to tell you my information is that when that happens, positive ships are coming into or close to the orbit and they're trying to assist. And that's not a reflection on us. That's their frequency being read on the equipment. So yes, we're affected, but they're these huge ships. When I say ship, I'm not talking about like a plane, like you guys think of a plane. I'm talking about a ship like 5 football fields or bigger, or the size of 4 New Yorks when we say ship. So some of these ships, both like Draco, reptilian, and positive ships, they're huge. And so they definitely affect us. Their frequency, their technology, their equipment affects us. As a matter of fact, I just went out last night. You can go out and you can see more ships in the sky above your house than you ever have. They're not necessarily positive ships. There are some there, but you can see more ships in the sky now than I think at any time in history, because the moon has the simulator that runs the simulation, and it's 3/4 breaking down. What people don't understand, this computer that I'm talking to you guys on, there is a computer that you can touch, just like I'm touching my Mac right now. You can actually, if you go up to the moon, you can touch the 12,500-year-old computer that runs this simulation of everything that you guys think is real, the houses, the trees, the yada yada. Some stuff is organic, most stuff is not. Most cities are not real. If we go up to 4D, 5G, there aren't going to be cities. There's going to be your houses, villages, natural areas, a lot of wildlife, because cities aren't real. Even some of the buildings in cities are holograms right now. If you knew where to go, it's all deception. It's the same thing I told you about the Gabby whatever murder. It's the same thing. It's distraction and deception. You could literally walk through some buildings in New York. They're holograms. Sorry.
No, I was, Chris had a question. I have a question. Why do you say it's 12,500 years old?
That's approximate because I have contact with outside races, and they have been around and not on Earth. Some of them have been in bodies, and we're all star families. I came in with partial memory. So I know my star family. I know now I'm going to sound really crazy, but I have relationships with these beings still from before, from the incarnations before. So I get information about the world from their perspective. Let's put it that way, or my perspective when I was, because we're all, there is no time. So really the future you is the present you, is the past you. And once you understand that, you can go access any information, not just through technology, but you yourself. Some people bring it in, they call channeling. There's a lot of deception. I just go out and get it. So I just go, and get information.
I'm sorry, but don't you think channeling is for somebody who's not like you in particular, who it just comes to, they need to help. They need to practice.
They need spiritual help.
But you guys know, Chris and Kristen, you know the danger of dark entities and energies. And there's a lot of races and beings that do not wish us well as spirits or as organic sentient beings. They do not want us to be happy. They want to take advantage of us. They want to speak through us. They want to promote their agenda. And so I think channeling is very dangerous because the person might have a pure heart intent, but they're inviting beings that they don't have the discernment to know, is this a being? That's why, and if they didn't work
right?
with you guys.
What is the discernment? And how do you draw that? Because
Right.
when I do it, I'm listening to something that's telling me I'm of the highest vibration. I am not going to accept anything less. I want for my greatest good and that sort of thing, right? But they're only words at the end of the day. So you wonder,
Right.
what are you really inviting, and what do you have
Exactly.
a card down? Does it get in that way, or can it? Because there's so much mental illness and
There is.
I think real possession in the
A
world
lot.
that is spiritual possession.
Well, and every cell phone tower that blinks white is a programming tower. It's voice to skull. Everybody's like targeted individuals, V2K. It's not. We are all susceptible to V2K. I finally, after 43 years, developed a silent mind. So I can't have V2K because I know the difference between the feeling of a thought that originates from inside me versus a thought that's coming from outside me. But most people can't distinguish that. And they think their thoughts they're coming from the programming towers. There used to be an app about 15 years ago that read the frequencies coming when you would drive by you could park under a cell phone tower and it would print out the words because it's just frequency. Every word has a frequency, every letter has a frequency. And it was hideous stuff. I used to have pages and pages of transcription from these towers. And it is like aliens are coming to invade us. You want to murder your neighbor. Your dog's going to die. It was just like negative BS crap, like morbid, horrible crap all day long coming from these towers. And they still do it. They probably say worse things now. Who knows? But yeah, every tower that you walk by that blinks white is a voice to skull advanced frequency technology weapon to program your brain, whatever the current cabal agenda is.
Wow,
Interesting.
that's interesting.
Now, what do you think about aliens? You were saying about possession and things, and what do you think about aliens being demonic? Like you talk about the reptiles.
What do you think about
Can you-
demons? And that,
Yeah.
you know, that word.
So this is
Chaotic
interesting.
energy.
I used to think, well, you have to remember I was very steeped in religion, Christian religion. My dad's a pastor. He still is. Went to Christian school, Christian college, yada, yada. So I'm very steeped, know the Bible backward and forward. So I was grown up very angel demon, and there were no such thing as aliens. Well, come to find out, I'm cetacean. Hello, we're all star. If you are a star seed, if you're a star child, if you're all fire creation beings are aliens. Like I said, there is no such race as human. Human is an avatar skin. When you play a video game, you can pick a male, you can pick a female, you can pick a green body, you can pick a white body, you can have blonde hair, you can have black hair. You guys know this. You can be heavy, you can be slim. It's the same thing. It's what's inside. So we get mixed up in our conversation when we're talking about the avatar versus the spirit. So there is no such thing as human. There's a human skin, and a lot of the alien races, which are us, our soul family, beings that we've been with in the future, past, present, even in other lives, in other timelines, in other realms, they have very similar looking. The Palladians, for example, look like us. They might have a little more angular face. They might have a higher forehead. They might have, their hair might grow thinner or thicker. But this avatar is used throughout the multiverse and galaxy everywhere. I mean, there's millions of star races that you would say are human. They're not human. They're from different planets, different times, different types. I mean, I have about 100 pictures of Dracos I can show you of, Dracos in human skin. They're not human, they're Dracos. So we're mixing the avatar of the video game with the spirit inside. So back to demons and angels. I no longer believe in demons and angels because the bird tribe and the seraphim are two different types of beings, and they play both sides. So the same being, the bird tribe, plays the role of a demon and angel. And people say, well, why would they do that? So you trust them. So
Gotcha.
you trust them and you pray to your guardian angel and you trust them. And then they come in and they the same angel that you think is only an angel is a demon and comes and like haunts your house or possesses your child or your dog or I mean, I've seen horrific things. I've done exorcisms. I don't know if you guys have. I'm sure you've been around them or seen them. But I mean, I've seen her, these beings do horrific things. But now I know they're no different than really a Drake or anything with its own agenda. It's a lot of flash and sizzle. And really, dragons are interesting. Definitely exist. Anyway, so what did you ask me? I got way off trying to explain.
I was just wondering if you like how we could distinguish an alien entity or compared
something
to
that
a
was,
demon,
if not from this earth,
like chaotic, like
element from this earth. So, like, how?
We're not from this earth.
Nobody hears from this earth. Nobody.
On
Nobody.
this plane right now. How about that?
Wait, what did you say?
On this plane right now, okay.
As opposed to discarnate. I think it's
like an elemental. It could be full of
that's different.
Right. But it also could be demonic in a way.
Absolutely. And they are.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the Fae are horrible, awful. So there's awful Sasquatch, there's awful Dagman, there's awful angels, demons, there's awful Dracos, there's good Dracos, there's awful dragons, there's good dragons. She was talking about dragons. So dragons, a whole race that absolutely exists.
She sees them everywhere. Anne sees them everywhere. She's
really? I think it's wonderful.
She was watching our show the last time when you were on Bigfoot and the Bunny. She absolutely loved it. You were watching your background. You had said, so that's why she had asked about the dragons.
Oh yeah, there's a dragon on the mountain. I mean, I've never run into a negative dragon, but I'm sure they're individual. They have individual personalities, and I know they have families, and they're real individual too. The discernment. I want to go back to the discernment. It's extremely hard. I become possessed by human discarnates, and sometimes I can barely tell. It's very, very subtle because this body is just a container, and it can hold 100 people or things or beings. And it's just really hard. To me, it's a purification process. You have to we have so much nanotechnology in us. We have so many heavy metals in us, and all that nanotechnology and that heavy metals is tied to the hive mind and tied to the programming towers. So you've got to constantly be getting all this junk, like all the prepared foods, like Kraft pumps it full of metals and nanotechnology. All these foods we eat in restaurants. I mean, we go out to eat at a restaurant, we're like, oh, a nice break from our food. Have you ever seen the trucks? They all get the food from the same place, and they all get it, in the end from the same companies. And you guys should never eat fast food because all the chicken meat is cursed by voodoo doctors and has horrible, horrible curses on it. And so you're eating like all this horrible meat from when you eat chicken, and all the beef comes from human meat warehouses. It all comes from Cargill. And Cargill, I knew a woman that worked at Cargill, and she told me horrible tales about the human meat warehouses.
Told us the last time and told us.
So never eat fast food. Chicken's cursed. And all the meats,
human meat. Now this is a funny story. Vegan. I was going to tell her about the funny story.
Still do, actually.
Right after your appearance on Bigfoot and the Bunny, you were talking about human meat, and I forgot the name of the company it was. I swear, Chris went shopping and got the next day
AVA.
That's it.
No, it was AVA.
And he got a package of it.
I sent her a picture, and I was like,
touching it.
I think I sent you the same picture.
Yeah.
I was like, should I eat this?
Yeah.
Like, do you think this is human meat? And like,
we're like,
chances are likely.
That vegan stuff, we suspect. I don't know. I do not know this. Maybe someone out there knows this. I do not know this, but I strongly suspect in the meat substitutes they're putting human meat just because that's how they are. I mean, that's how they are. My daughter eats all those weird vegan meat substitutes, the Beyond Burgers and all that. I think it's all the same crap. That's my suspicion. I don't know that. I only know about the regular food supply.
I don't know, but the chicken's kind of evil because all kids like chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
There's not a kid out there.
Cooties.
It's like becomes the one thing you can feed your kid is chicken nuggets.
Yeah, French fries.
Safe bet. Sorry, but it's cursed by a voodoo priest.
No, it's just a lot of, it's just, everything's just so, in the same with the candies. Everybody's like, oh, Valentine's Day candy. All of it's like, these people hate you. I mean, these people think, I mean, they tell you on the Georgia Guidestones, they tell you in movie after movie after movie and TV series after TV series how much they hate you. And you guys just go, could you give me some more money and a milkshake? Thank you. I mean, why do you think your government loves you? The government is not even a government. Those are all puppets. It's the cabal. And above them is the corporations, the same corporations that tax you, the same corporations that make you work to buy things, you work for them, and then they pay you, and then you give them your money back to buy stuff we don't need. Like, I've been in this house for 9 months and I still have so much junk I haven't even gone through and unpacked. Why did I buy it? Why is it sitting in boxes in my garage?
We understand.
Like, what does the money mean in the end of the day? Right?
Money's nothing. I mean, it's energy, but it's nothing.
Maybe it's the energetic quality of it that gives it some kind of value to something outside of our realm. Because, I mean, what does it really mean? It's just paper. It doesn't really matter. It's not even backed by gold anymore. So I don't know. I don't totally understand it. But your website is secret2everything.com. No,
it's like, okay,
wrapping back. No.
The reason why is because we've been on for almost 2 hours, so we got to extend it.
Giving you a hard time.
Awesome with you.
Extended, yeah.
And we really would like you back because I've got a lot of.
I love talking to you. It's fun.
Please.
We can talk about anything.
Like the Georgia Guidestones. We did a whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, did you guys talk about that? Oh, I have to watch
that kind of thing. Yeah, it's very interesting.
And it was really interesting
and,
how we
especially when you
dealt.
look at statistics, how much population has grown.
Right.
Really, since even those stones were put out there. So
we get a lot of information on that. We did months and months of work for that.
I'll have to look into that and watch that.
We'd love to.
I love having you on and talking to you. Your website again is secret2everything.com.
There, yeah, thank you.
You have an app out there. Can people get it on Apple? Can they get it on Android? How do they get the application?
Oh, yeah. And they're probably, like I said, they're probably going to want to enter in through a scan. And we have lots of free classes, lots of free stuff on the website. So if you have any questions, just type it in our we have a little box you can fill in. And if you have any questions, then we'll be happy to help you. Can I go back really quick to Anne-Marie about dragons? Overall, my experience with dragons is they are some of the highest frequency cryptid realms. They're found in the highest, most advanced, close back to source consciousness society. So I just wanted to put that in. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you so much.
I got one there. I got a couple of them, actually a few of them. I don't know why, which is peculiar. I ended up getting more dragon tattoos than I intended.
Because you're real. You're your creation spirit. Of course you're going to like dragons.
It would seem. But people should get the app from the website, secret2everything.com. That's where they should go.
Yeah, just check us out. Just stumble around and check us out. Yeah, but thank you so much. It's my privilege. And thank your audience. Maybe you were deleting all the trollish comments, but I like it. Your audience is kind. They're not.
I don't delete the comments.
But not everything comes through the software, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was
put everything together. A lot of people are typing at the same time.
But thank you guys for entertaining my crazy, and I hope maybe you got something.
Oh, we're a little crazy.
We're crazy.
Yeah,
we're not
down
crazy.
with it.
We're with you. We're right with you. And so
there's something wrong in the world. I mean, there's no question. And I've seen things.
I know 3 of us have to figure it out.
You know what I mean?
That would be the scariest thing on earth. Like, well,
it happened
for anybody if all 3 of us got together.
No, but you guys, it would be so, we have got to do some kind of investigation together. We should plan something. It would be hot as crap. Come on, the 3 of us.
The frequency. Oh my God, alone.
We would have so much happen. It would be the most active investigation that ever happened.
I think so. There's a portal right there.
Yep.
Ready to rip wide open.
That's exactly right.
There it is. We'll all be stepping through like bosses.
Right. Please don't leave after this. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, sure.
All right. And just so everybody knows, Bigfoot and the Bunny is on Saturday night. Mm-hmm. We'll have Chris Garcia, whose shirt I am wearing, and he sent me, and he's a good man. Everybody out there loves Chris. He's awesome. Yeah, does an excellent job with the readings. We'll be talking to him, and we'll gain a little insight on psychic phenomena as well as live readings with Chris Garcia Saturday. Right here on the network, whatever network you're watching us on now, we'll be there Saturday. You can check that out. And aside of that,
thank you again.
Have a great week.
Dark Horse Paranormal.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Ann.